This is just gonna be anytime we hang out in person now, we get at least one episode in because that's hysterical.
And it
Hi,
always
Clover.
it won't be
Come here.
recycled
No,
opening.
of course
It'll
not.
be, well, yes and no. We'll just keep adding onto it so that the opening credits keep getting longer and longer
Oh God.
until
This
that is the
is
whole
stupid.
bit.
This is stupid.
What do you mean?
This is stupid. Uh, anyway, I'm Jules and that's Maggie, and this
It's
is
me,
Bunniichii Corner.
Bunniichii Corner.
Woo!
Woo!
Magpie, how have you been?
Jules, I have been deep in the trenches of editing Bunniichii Corner, and then seeing J Hope, baby. I'm Army now. I'm hipping with the times.
What's a J-Hope?
J Hope of BTS.
Behind the scenes, yeah.
Yeah,
My favorite.
BTS.
I
I
feel like you
know.
need to know. So I am still touching grass, but as I had mentioned to you, I did get a Blue Sky account.
I
I'm
saw,
really
and so
enjoying it.
since you did it, I obviously had to follow, only so I can
I'm
constantly
really
see what you're
I'm
doing.
really enjoying it because there is
Mm,
no algorithm. So
yeah.
I feel like I can take things less seriously. I'm trying to learn to be normal about stuff. So like
Mm.
I'm posting cosplay, but also pictures of my dog and also Lolita
Yeah.
thing. Also my nails every time I do a new manicure.
Nail
Ooh.
Monday. Manny
Uh,
Monday.
but I got someone following me whose name
Hmm.
was Maggie, who was posting about being at the BTS concert in San Antonio, and I was like, Maggie?
It
No,
wasn't
I had a
me.
different Maggie following me who
Fight
was
him.
also in San Antonio at the
Fight
BTS
him.
concert.
Wait,
It
was
threw
there
me
wait,
for a loop.
wait. Did you say Maggie or Magpie?
Maggie.
I would never say my name on the line online.
Never.
Never.
Never. Well, how was the concert?
Um, fantastic. I am Army now. There was a circular bed on stage at one point. Um, that was actually for Mary and I. So we were supposed to be down there. However, we were in nosebleed, so we couldn't get down there in time
That makes
to be
sense.
part of the song. Obviously, this makes sense. It was raining, but
Hmm.
the heat from the stage got us dry.
Oh, I don't know how to process that sentence. Oh dear. Um, well, on that note, what are we talking about this week?
This week, we have an actual topic aside from being petty and bitches.
Us? Petty bitches? Since when?
Since the day we were born,
We
we
were
were
trouble.
trouble.
Okay, we're good at this.
All right. So, when this episode comes out, we will be in New Orleans being goth girls ghost hunting. And we will be
Ooh.
doing and we'll be doing a live Bunniichii corner. Well, kind of, not really. We do what we want.
An
But the
in-person Bunniichii
person
corner.
Bunniichii corner.
We're not
Mhm.
live streaming this. That would be
No,
we
no,
would
no.
YouTube would ban us in a second.
I still have things I want to put on this. Like
We're not done yet.
we're not done yet. We gotta at least get to 25.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And then that's whatever happens next is
and then we quit.
happens. Yeah, yeah. Quit while we're
So when this
ahead.
comes out, we will be having our hot goth girl weekend.
And finding ghosts and cemeteries.
Nice.
As of right now, we are going to be talking about two very interesting things. Hence why I brought up
Holy,
BTS and
there
Army.
are two of them.
Two topics. Two topics. As we all know, I am deep in my K-pop phase. And K-pop means that is my boys are my life. They bring me life. This is getting very strange very quickly. Anyways, the two topics today are going to be fandom and Disney adults are the new weeb. Well, wait. Weeb adults are the new Disney adults.
Uh-huh.
And then also the topic of fandom. And what is that? How does it
Let's start
impact
there
culture? Which one?
with fandom. I think that can lead into
Oh, yeah,
weebs and
yeah. Disney
adults.
weebs and Disney adults. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So here's the reason why I thought of this. So obviously, as I have said like 5 times now, I did not go to an AT's concert, though I will be going to the next one. I went to a J Hope concert of BTS, of Behind the Scenes, Bangtan Boys.
That's
And
my
going,
favorite group. I know
right?
all
We
their
are
songs.
we are army. Say yes very
They
quickly, Julie, otherwise they will come for us
Yay,
and they will burn us
yeah.
down.
Woo, Army. It's my favorite military branch.
That's right. That's right. It is. Don't come for us, K-pop fans. You're wildin'. While I was there, I saw the the scary part of K-pop fandom, as well as the nice part of K-pop fandom. And then afterwards, I read like newspaper articles. Ooh, egg, Glover.
Sorry, it was my dog.
And then after J-Hope, I understood. I became a fan. But then I was reading articles from like different newspapers and news sources that were talking about the concert and the impact it had. And it was so interesting to see the different perspectives. I have talked to many
Yeah.
people over the years, and I think if I were able to make it a career, I would be a great professional fangirl. However, that does not pay the bills. Sad. Very sad. So, what does one do? You just get extremely obsessive. Now, is that a healthy mindset? No.
Yes. Oh,
No. No, Julie, no. Obsessive
damn.
is not. Obsessive is not a healthy mindset. But if AT does anything, will I immediately send all the info to Mary, my fellow AT fan? And if Mingy, my AT's favorite, posts a photo, I'm like, oh, look, it's Mingy over and over and over again. And then Mary says, oh, look, Yuno posted, it's my chair. And I'm like, oh, Mingy's my chair too. Yeah, no. It's complete delusion. All right. in the in the best sense of irony and comedy. All right, Julie, don't back away. Wait, Julie, wait, come back.
Mm.
Wait, Julie, come back.
I don't like that I don't know some of the words you're using. How far have you gotten down the rabbit hole while I've been away?
Do you want to know?
No.
No, you don't want to know.
Anyway, what's your thesis?
My thesis is that fandom and fan culture is a fantastic case study in the human psyche
Okay, in what way?
because in the way that we can see how individuals that need something or some type of motivation to not carry on, but something or someone that gives them inspiration or sparks a positive feeling and reaction,
Mm-hmm.
how that can lead to this total overall consumption of the human brain. Not like
Mm-hmm.
over the top. That's crazy and insane. But like with Love Live, I'm going to use this. We always start our examples with Love Live.
Gotta.
You gotta.
Hey, did you buy the Love Life Cyber set?
It's not payday yet, Julie. Remember,
Are you
we
done?
get
Are
paid
you done?
on alternate Fridays. Friday's coming.
Anyway, Love Live.
Love
Love
Live.
Live.
Love Live. Um, when you first, when I first watched it, I was sort of into it when I first watched
Mm-hmm.
the anime.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started watching the concerts. And then I was
Mm-hmm.
obsessed.
Mm-hmm.
I would try and find every single aspect of it to intake because some part of it spoke to me in a way that inspired joy and creativity, hence making me a better person.
Mhm.
I think a lot of fandom culture sparks or at least starts from that. And then the way that people consume and continue to intake that form of media alternates depending on if it's sparking joy or cynicism or something different. Fandom can become its own form of community, but then a fandom can also be artificially created, which we see in like merchandising or creating a false sense of limited supply, creating that supply and demand chain, you know? Because I was reading some news articles about the J Hope concert after I
Mhm.
went, and it was so interesting to see the way that the authors wrote about the fans. But it was very interesting to see people who had never, to read what people who had never experienced fan culture, what they observed and how they saw that type of culture. Because
Yeah.
fandom on its own, it's definitely its own culture.
Yeah.
Um, you're allowed to be delusional to an extent. Like you can talk about things where it's like, this is obviously never gonna happen, but
Yeah.
you have such strong feelings about it that the only way to talk about it is in insane ways. But when you're around people who also
Hyperbole.
have, like normally,
Hyperbole.
hyperbole,
Yeah, using
literally.
hyperbole to discuss these things.
No, I'm talking literally.
Okay. Please continue.
Okay. I forgot what I was talking about.
When you're around normal people.
Ah, when you're around people who aren't part of fandom, it becomes a very interesting study of the culture. Because when you're around people who aren't part of the fandom, you can be like, oh, I really like Love Live, or I really like BTS. I enjoy their music. You're not gonna go be like, oh my gosh, you watch Love Live? You like Aqua? Who's your favorite? Who's your Oshi? My favorite's Mari. Oh my gosh. Have you seen anything else that Nyachan has done? You the Seiyu,
It's the use of
obviously.
the use name that gets me. Because, like,
It's
I know
like,
exactly what you're talking about because I think I've even had that experience with you because I
you
didn't care
did.
anything about the say you. Actually, I think you just reenacted one of our conversations.
Yeah.
Um, because you would start using their names, and I'm over here like the
Who
girl,
is
the
that?
woman doing math, like that
Yeah.
meme, like what? I really do enjoy Love Live, but I'm just at a different level of fandom than you on it.
Yeah.
But like, I think I would make most people be the woman doing math memes if you talked like Elder Scrolls with me
Yeah.
because
You're
I
like,
am on a different
yes.
planet when it comes to talking about Elder. I don't talk gameplay, I talk lore. But no, I get what you mean. I think fandom is interesting because one thing that I've been kind of mulling over in my little head for a while
Hmm.
is I think fandom has replaced personality for a lot of people.
Yeah. No, I
Like
absolutely agree.
I think there's a healthy amount of fandom because ultimate okay, there's healthy and unhealthy amounts of everything, right?
Yeah.
You know, water is unhealthy to some
Hmm.
degree if you have too much of it. I think fandom is at its healthiest when it is used as a tool for which to create a connection with another or a group of human beings.
Yeah.
Um, that's what Michael and I have started watching Severance together. It
Hmm.
is very fun to sit down and watch, you know, 3 episodes of Severance with Michael and then
Hmm.
talk about it afterwards because there's a lot to discuss.
Yeah.
That's what fandom should be for. It should bring people together, give people stuff to talk about. But a lot of times, especially when I was more, on the internet and less
Hmm.
touching grass, it seemed like fandom was all people had in terms
Yeah.
of hobby and in terms of personality. And that's when
Hmm.
it gets a little scary. Like our friend Miku. I would put
Ooh.
Miku as someone who has replaced personality with fandom.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think we would refer to her as a friend, but yes,
Our friend
individual. Right, 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 right.
Miku.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Um, but I think it's really interesting because one interaction I've had in my head for the past month or so,
Mm,
I've been
mm,
trying to make people friends, which is
mm.
very difficult as an adult. And it's
Yeah.
very difficult as an adult who works from home. Um, and this
Mm,
guy and his girlfriend came over and we were
mm,
going to play Marble Champions together, which is a
mm.
card game that I really, really, really enjoy. Sorry you hate it, Maggie.
It's so
Uh,
hard.
it's literally the most difficult character to play.
But
Out of like 52 characters, you picked the hardest one to play.
well, this is not a new thing for me. I will
Anyway,
always go the wrong route.
so we invited this guy and his girlfriend
Mhm.
over, and we're playing and we're having a nice time, and we're trying to get to know each other,
Yeah.
right? As you
Mm.
do, you know. And I don't like to talk like, "Oh, what do you do for work?" I think that's really
Mm.
boring. I try to
Yeah.
avoid what do you do for work as much as I possibly can.
Like, what
And
is
at
your
one point
hobby?
he asks me and Michael, he starts to
Mm.
go, what are IPs that you like?"
Oh.
Like
Oh, that's weird.
he almost said fandoms, like, "What fandoms are you into?" But instead he, like,
Yeah.
tried to pivot to a more socially acceptable, like, "What IPs are you into?" And I'm like,
Hmm.
I understand the question because at that point I could say like, "Oh, I love Fallout," and then he'll go, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I love Fallout too," and then we
Fallout
can talk
2.
about Fallout. But w our parents never had these conversations.
No. No, they did not.
That's a
Yeah.
new thing.
Hmm.
That's a new thing. And I don't know what to make of it. I don't know
So
what
weird.
grand sweeping statement there is to be had,
Hmm.
but I've been thinking about that for a month now.
Because
I
when my
think it's
gut
just a sign of
reaction.
how much we've brought fandom into our daily lives.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Your gut reaction.
My gut reaction is as a millennial, right? So much of culture when we were younger was based off of pop culture. There was so much marketing and importance in an intellectual property, in a series or oh,
I would like to point out as well the importance that was placed in pop culture for us growing up was
mm,
all about sales.
yeah, it was all about
They
marketing.
cultivated fandom to make money. Please
Yeah,
continue.
that is
I just think
accurate.
that's an important thing to think about in this
Yeah.
context.
So, keeping that in mind, we as millennials have literally been raised with this idea of fandom, and that is it is a positive thing. Our brains have been molded to be obsessed with fandom culture, which is so wild to me, because
Yeah.
there's the idea of enjoying something. So let's use, what? Yes, this is good. This is a good idea. We're going to use toy history here. So, the first major aspect, ow, I hit my arm.
No, don't do that. Don't hurt my bestie.
I try. It was just there.
Oh,
Um, one of the first major franchises, like film franchises that had action figures, wasn't like it was Star Trek, yes, but there was Star Wars. Star Wars was its own cultural phenomenon.
yeah.
It kept one toy, like one dying toy company, alive for a few years. They weren't good toys, mind you, but because Star Wars in itself was what created the summer blockbuster, that was all they sold. And then we continue to see an evolution in Saturday morning cartoons like Transformers, He-Man, She-Ra, all of these like classic cartoons that were all created to sell toys.
Historically,
Prior,
like everyone knows this.
yeah, yeah, everyone knows this. This
It's
isn't a
not like a
speculation.
conspiracy
This
theory.
is this is solidly part of history. This was a historical event where a majority of animation and animated shows that came out in the 80s and 90s was solely to sell toy lines to young kids.
Mm-hmm.
So a whole generation of people have been brought up with that mentality of forming the brain that, yes, this is so pivotal that not only can I watch it, I also have the toys. And then this follows me in from adolescence into adulthood. Because I think everyone that's raised with these types of cartoons or any type of media,
Because at that point,
that's
you
a
also have
great
Disney
way.
with all
Mm-hmm.
the Disney princesses and all the Disney
Yep.
toys, and then you have Barbie with all the Barbie movies and
Barbie,
toys
everything with
and video
Mattel.
games, everything
Mm-hmm.
Harry Potter.
Everything Harry
I
Potter.
know. Retroactively, I know, but like in the moment
In the moment,
when
Harry
it was
Potter was a
coming
cultural
out.
phenomenon. Star Wars was a cultural phenomenon. The same thing happened with Harry Potter. A
Yeah,
cultural phenomenon that took over the world. And that is not an overgeneralization, that is quite literally a fact.
yeah.
And then, on top of that, because this was a shared media experience, what you would do the next day after like an episode of a TV series came out or after a new film came out, you would go talk to all the kids in your class or your coworkers or fellow students like, "Hey, did you see that last night? Oh my gosh. That one scene? I can't believe it.
Like I think that was the
The
experience
reveal
like
of
when
Darth
Lost was
Vader?"
coming out.
Yeah. And the thing is with streaming, that's not it is and it isn't readily available anymore, right? The appeal of sharing thoughts on media as it was coming out or as it was released is still somewhat there, but not as much because most streaming platforms will grab a hold of films and TV series, right? And typically they'll just have the whole show out all at once. And since it's not dedicated to one time slot on every single on a specific day of the week, people can just watch it whenever. Like when Game of Thrones came out, I'd say that's Severance, I think, is the most recent example. But Game of Thrones, when that first came out, it was a weekly episodic show
Hmm.
and it was all at the same time every single week. And it was a big event. So I saw Game of Thrones as it was coming out. And the next day, everyone who watched it was talking about what happened. It was like, oh my gosh, can you believe like Daenerys with the dragon eggs? Ah, Khaleesi? Or it's like, oh, what about yada yada yada? What do you think's gonna happen next?
I
Who's
mean, it
gonna sit
just
on the
reminds
Iron
me of like
Throne?
when I was in college, my friend group did
Hmm.
weekly watch parties of Survivor every Thursday. We got together,
Yeah.
we fucking
Mm-hmm.
watched Survivor. And like no one really cared about Survivor, but we really fucking got into it because we were chatting
Yeah.
about it all the time because we watched it weekly together.
Yeah.
But like you're giving me two disparate thoughts right now that I'm trying to hold
Hmm.
concurrently in my head. One
Say them out
being
loud.
um
Twilight.
I'm gonna no god, no, 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 no. I'm gonna go for the shorter one first and then we'll go
Ah.
into the bigger conversation. Um
I.
Fandom is really interesting to me in what it has become for our generation specifically, and I think
Hmm.
even the generation after us.
Mm-hmm.
Um in that it's not even inherently about the thing anymore. So
Hmm.
Baldur's Gate 3
Mm.
was fucking bananas when it first dropped. Like it was and is a cultural phenomenon in the gaming world, right?
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3 was a lot of people's first like CRPG. It was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people's first introduction into, D&D. It was a lot of people's first Larian game,
Yeah.
which if you've played Baldur's Gate 3 and you have not played Divinity Original Sin or Divinity Original Sin 2, go do that. They're nothing alike, but they're very good. Anyway, so if you take Baldur's Gate 3 and you play, 120 hours for one run through of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have now consumed the media.
Mm.
But now what? there isn't more Baldur's Gate 3. Sure, you can go and replay it in, another 120 hours and another 120 hours and another 120 hours, but eventually you do all of the run throughs.
Yeah.
But you still want stuff, so you
Mm.
don't just consume fan fiction and fan art, you buy fan art
Yeah.
and you join groups for the thing. But then also, you know what else you buy? You buy candles that are themed after Asterion because he's your favorite. Or you buy jewelry that makes you think of Will because, you
Mm.
romanced him on your third playthrough. The concept that you can make a cedar and vanilla scented candle and slap Astarion's face on it and sell it by calling
Mm.
it Astarion Baldur's Gate 3 is fascinating to me because fandom sells things that have nothing to do with fandom because
Mm.
you can draw like the thinnest line between the two concepts. You know?
Yeah. Hmm.
And I know you're laughing, but I know you've also literally seen it. Candles based on fandom. Why?
See, the
Literally,
thing that
why? You can call anything the thing.
the thing that makes me laugh in regards to candles because there's perfume. I don't really wear or have lots of perfume, but the ones that I do have are specifically from a smaller art, not artist, but perfume maker, right? And her all of her perfumes are fandom inspired.
And I understand that, but isn't it
And I think
bizarre?
it's that's the thing. It's so funny because what I had three from her. I had the Love Live one, the Madoka Magical one, and now all that's left is Princess Mononoke. Uh, but it requires this a level to buy into it, right? It requires this
Right.
level of immersion where you're like, yeah, this is what it would smell like, which is
And that's a little bizarre.
insane. It's firstly, the scents I do have are fantastic, just as perfumes alone. I would buy them
Yeah.
if they are not fandom related.
Yeah.
However, the worst part is like I smell it and I'm like, no, I see what you are going for here. And that requires a level of obsession where you are running down the sense that you would experience in this world, in this imaginary world. You're like, yeah,
This is it.
this
If
is it.
Astarion was next to me in bed, this
This
is
is
what he'd
this is
smell like.
what I would be smelling.
And like it also
A
makes me think of
barrel.
like the Snape's wives cult or
The
the
Snape wives called. Ah,
or the what was it? The one really crazy woman, I say one, there's been many,
I was like, which
about
one?
Sephiroth. And
About
like
who?
these people, Sephiroth, believing that he was
Oh,
actually like her angel and like they
yep,
were
yep. I
married. Yeah.
remember. Yeah, I remember this
And
lady now. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
these people, to some degree, I feel bad for them because it's
Mm,
clearly a mental health crisis gone
yeah.
wrong, right?
No,
But
absolutely.
it's happened so much. There are so many instances of these things
Mm.
happening with different fandoms. It really makes you think. But
Oh,
it does really make you
yeah, it
think.
does though.
Like
That's the worst part. It's like, oh
like
yeah, yeah,
how
no, this
much
makes sense.
are we investing in these fantasy concepts and worlds
Mm.
and people that we neglect our own reality? Because I understand the need for escapism, right? Like I too
Yeah.
have been a depressed 13-year-old who wanted to kill herself. I get
Mm.
it. I understand. But if we ignore our reality, we let it rot and fester, and for what? It's like taking drugs.
Yeah.
It's losing yourself in something that doesn't matter and doesn't have meaning. Fandom is good, but not to this point.
Fandom is good as a
Yeah.
vessel for creativity and
It
connection.
brought you and me
Once you use it,
together.
it brought us together. See, you two could have a best friend.
That's our best
Best
friends.
friend. Be my best friend.
Shoot, what was the other point? She
Show
a real
anything.
bad bitch. Um, what was the other point I was gonna make? We were talking about I don't remember now.
Want me to start talking and then maybe it'll come back?
Yeah.
Okay. in regards to fandom being a vessel, a fandom is a vessel for community for those who have difficulty finding a community. It can be a vessel for creativity. I know that you and I have both talked at great lengths how writing fan fiction has helped
We
inspire
love
us
fan fiction.
and work on our creativity and our
Yeah.
storytelling, and also obviously has inspired us in other hobbies like sewing and making friends and fan art. Shout out to that one fan fiction I made. I never told you about the one screenplay I made, right? In middle
No.
school. Oh, do you want to
No.
know about it? Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not here. We'll do it later.
Okay. It was a Labyrinth sequel.
That
It's
can be a New Orleans conversation.
I'll find it before New Orleans. Maybe.
Yes.
I'll try and find it. Um, but if you use it as a vessel to
Oh, I
pursue
remember my other
different
thought. Please
go for it.
continue.
No, you go now.
Oh, okay. We were talking about shows and how they are distributed. And
Mm,
one
mm.
thing that I was thinking about this morning, actually, I was trying to find a way to word it to put it on Blue Sky to see if other people felt the same way I did, but I couldn't figure out how to word it in like, what is it, like 300 characters? I don't know. It's too
I
short
don't know.
for me to wax poetically about fandom. Um, I was thinking about how during the pandemic, a lot of anime popped off on Instagram, like,
Mm,
and then I never fucking heard about them again.
yeah.
Like, there are still, I'm gonna list some names. I know people are gonna be like, oh, but I still really like that one. I know, I get
But
it. There
we're
are
talking about
fans
like the
of these
general
shows.
populace.
I'm talking
General
like
populace.
Naruto levels of popularity.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the one week that Toilet Bound Hanako-kun took over everything.
It was so dumb.
Where is it
For
now?
why? For why?
Where is it now? Or Wonder Egg Priority? Who still talks about that?
It was
Who's talking
bad.
about Wonder Egg Priority right now?
It
It
was
ended
bad.
badly, but like so many
It did have one
shows
of the Seiyu
have
from Love Live.
had the flash in the pan moment where they
Hmm.
get popular for a week or two and then I never fucking hear about them again.
Devilman
And
Crybaby. That would be
I
included.
forgot about that. um Devil is a part-timer. Uh
Yeah.
we're not just going to sit here listing anime, but I people still talk about Inuyasha. People still
Mm.
talk about Naruto. People still talk about, you know, My Hero Academia, which just wrapped up, and Attack on Titan, and Demon Slayer,
And
and even
Bleach.
and Black, and Neon
Hey.
Genesis Evangelion, and The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. These were all cultural moments in
Mm.
anime, right?
Yeah.
And these shows were syndicated. They came out weekly and they reran on TV. And a lot of them, admittedly, yes, did come out during a time where finding anime was hard. So everyone watched the same thing. But I think the concept of fandom is schisming into smaller and smaller subgroups because we no longer have these big pillar things that last a long time to bring us all together. Because one, there's too much anime.
Yeah.
Let's just start there. There's too
Oh yeah.
much fucking anime. Let's
The
stop.
industry is overrun
Overrun.
by the same show again and again, which is its
Fucking
own issue
isekai.
altogether. I'm
Fucking
so done.
isekai. I'm
I'm
so
so
done with
done.
isekai.
So
But
done.
like,
But if I was in an isekai,
I think he'd be a really good main character.
thank you.
But like, I'm
I started a
wondering.
podcast, so now I'm in another world.
Oh, that's a funny title. Shit,
The
that's
worst
good
part is
actually.
there's probably a light novel that has the same concept.
It feels like there's too much media being shot out of a fire hose
Yeah. We're essentially
for
seeing
us
the
to consume
death
it all.
of. We're very quickly seeing the death of meaningful media.
Yeah.
Now, meaningful media doesn't necessarily mean it has solid meaning or that it's supposed to have a deep impact on the person, right?
Yeah.
By meaningful media, I mean it's impactful to culture.
Yeah.
Akira. the anime film from the 80s, is an impactful film not only for its story, but also it
But
has
for
had
that one
such
scene of
an
the guy on the
impact.
motorcycle.
That scene alone has impacted so much of media as a whole. So, probably my most favorite impact, right, of anime that's impacted Western culture is The Matrix. Akira and so much of 80s anime inspired the creators of The Matrix to create this wild film, which then became a trilogy. And I don't really acknowledge the second one. That one didn't happen. But The Matrix then became a cultural phenomenon and impactful to pop culture and culture as a whole. We see so many shots in film, like what the
Even just the
Matrix came out in the
concept of the red
2000s,
pill is
right?
in culture.
Yeah, the red pill or the blue pill,
The
going down the
estrogen
rabbit
pill
hole,
or being a bull.
being pulled. So much of it has impacted culture that you don't even realize how much it's been impacted by just that one
Yeah.
film. Like, it's insane to me that there has not been something that's been that impactful in the most, like, in the last 10 years. And 10 years is being very generous, right? There's
I'm like running through all the
we
movies I've seen trying to
Yeah,
like think.
the only thing that I can see as impactful are like with horror films, but that is such its
But
own
it's just because
tiny
you love
subgenre.
horror.
It's not just that, I swear.
I'm saying you have that to pull from because you watch so much horror.
I haven't watched a horror film in almost 2 months.
I'm so proud of you. But like on the concept of things to talk about, I think
Hmm.
about when we were gonna hang out around Christmas, and I told you
Yeah.
we went and watched Nosferatu. Go, please watch us. We can talk about it. Um,
That was
you don't
horrible.
have a lot of conversations like that anymore, just off the
Yeah.
top of your head. But like Nosferatu is a good example because I then went to work and my coworker Ryan watched Nosferatu, so he and I talked about it. And then I went
Mm-hmm.
and got my hair done, and my hairdresser loves
Interesting.
horror
Mm-hmm.
movies, so she went and watched Nosferatu. And then when I came back, we talked about it. But like with in regards to anime, because let's face it, that's what fandom we're talking about. Because sports is also fandom, but no one wants to say that out loud.
WWE is fandom. I will say it.
But
Wrestling is
like
fandom.
the number of times I have met someone who liked anime and I'm like, "Oh, what do you like?" And they list off like 30 shows and I'm like, "I have been watching anime since I was 9
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know anything you just listed." Like
Yeah.
that's fucking bananas that that's a thing now.
Like, I think it's also so impactful that it's just like, if someone says they like anime, 90% of the time, they're going to list at least one Studio Ghibli film and
Yeah.
then Naruto.
Good. Good. I can work with that. I love Naruto.
And then Sailor Moon.
Hell
The
yeah.
only thing I can work with is Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
Is a horrible time for me. But it's telling because those shows are still seen as culturally relevant.
Yeah, they're in the
There
zeitgeist.
was they're the zeitgeist, but also I think there was what's the word? There was a sense of hmm, it wasn't modeled. It wasn't based off of something. It was true to itself.
Yeah.
It was
It
a story that
wasn't
was close to the creator's heart, that it was filled with passion, and there was this mm, you
it
know what I
wasn't
mean,
trend
right?
chasing.
It wasn't trend chasing. It wasn't trying to fit this algorithm or a known plot.
Yeah.
It was something close to the creator and this wonderful story that was so specific, and it just spoke, but not just specific, but it spoke to so many people.
Yeah. I
They
went
were
to a con
so
recently.
genuine. Yeah, the stories are genuine.
I went to a con recently. I went to
Mm-hmm.
Colorado Anime Fest, and it was a small con.
What? You went
It's
to a
about
con
I
without
know, I
me?
had yeah, I went
What?
with my husband. We went to go play Magic the Gathering.
Oh,
Um,
sick.
and
I love magic.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about Magic the Gathering. I'm so sick and tired of talking about Magic the Gathering. It's all I talk
Sad,
about these days at home. It's
sad.
awful. Um,
I can bring one of my card mats next time I come there.
Honestly, you should just go through Michael's cards and build yourself a
I,
deck
c-
and take it
I
home.
can bring my Love Live deck mat.
Please do, actually, unironically. Anyway, no, I went to Colorado Anime Fest, and it's a small con. They service about
Mm.
4,000 people for the all
Oh,
3 days
okay.
total,
Mm.
where like NDK is like 9,000 people per day, just
Yeah.
as a reference of how small it is. And I had a nice time, but there wasn't a lot to do. And so we went through the dealer's hall, and then we were sitting off to the side while I was waiting for a friend to meet up with me.
Mhm.
I have friends I know. And I'm people
Whoa.
watching. And I'm
Mm.
kind of in a central area. So I'm watching people, go back and forth, enter and exit the dealer's hall. And I realized something. I am I'm the old guy from The Simpsons. I used to be with it, and then they changed what it was, and now I'm not with it anymore. Because I recognized
Oh.
maybe 3 costumes in the entire hour I was sitting there. And, like, I knew,
Oh.
like, oh, this is from, like, an Ohioverse thing, like, for Genshin or whatever the
Mm.
hell else they have.
Mhm.
I could recognize that. I'm not gonna count that because I don't know the characters.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm sitting there and I'm watching them everyone go by, and I'm like, I don't know what's the thing anymore.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking out of I'm off the internet for less than a year and this is what happens? What?
But that's
And it was
so
just a really
telling, right?
bizarre thing,
Yeah.
man. It was
True.
bizarre.
True.
Not a single Inuyasha.
That's sad. Was there any Bleach? Naruto?
No, no.
What? What?
It was a lot of oh,
Sailor
it was
Moon?
a lot of manhwa stuff and a
Ah.
lot of Ohioverse stuff. And I could
Mm-hmm.
recognize these things as these things, but they're in another universe for me.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's wrong, and I'm not saying it's bad. I just think I'm not with it anymore, and that's
Mm.
okay.
See, for
I
me,
don't know if I want to be with it.
I think the issue for me is that due to social media having so much flavor of the week
Yeah.
kind of deal, it really increases the speed of fandom and what pop culture is.
Mhm.
Like it comes in like a lion and leaves with a bang.
Yeah.
It's so quickly over that it doesn't have that impact to pop culture that most media that we grew up with and impacted us as individuals has.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we still see younger individuals enjoying anime and film from when we were younger or ones that we grew
Yeah.
up with. Because there's this outlasting theme and understanding and
A
authenticity to the
timelessness to
storytelling.
it.
Yeah, there's an authenticity to it that isn't had anymore. I think manhwa in general is is having this popularity because people who've never had access to it before are now having easy access to it.
Mhm.
I'll be I get to say I read it before it was cool.
You're
That's
such a
right.
hipster.
That's right. I bet most of you don't even know the manhwa chocolat. But guess what? I do. Ha! Suck it, nerds.
Suck it,
But
nerds. Spoken
but
like a true jock.
also, thanks. I get to bully kids. But the issue here, right, is that when I was a teen and at that pivotal moment where I had gotten that in, like, when I acknowledged media as anime, the internet was still young. And so a lot of media that wasn't Japanese, but was Korean or Chinese, uh, it just kind of all was jumbled together.
It was Asian.
So,
It was
yeah,
weird.
Asian. Asian is weird. Horrible. Hate that we're saying that sentence in 2025. but that's what it
I'm
was back
we're
then.
saying it ironically.
We're saying it ironically. Please don't take this out of context.
Please take it out of context.
Don't take it out of context, Julie. I edit these. We're not taking it out of context. But because of that, I wasn't confined to just the Japanese media.
Yeah.
I was able to find like manhwa and everything like that and experience so many different stories and storytelling. Some of them were long lasting, some of them flash in the pan. But now everything is categorized, which there's a good and bad side to it.
Hmm.
Good in that we're able to appreciate different cultures and their storytelling and their experiences
Hmm.
and able to differentiate, right? Because everyone has a different story to tell, and the way that others interact with that culture or community is different and impacts the other in different ways. But also, then we have this way with culture and pop culture, especially in media, where those that enjoy that media will only focus on a certain genre. For those who like anime, they at least used to be, I'm not sure if there's as many elitists anymore, but unless it was made in Japan, it wasn't seen as anime.
Oh my God, do you remember
So
all the
then
arguments about fucking Avatar? If
it's
it's not
done,
made in Japan, it's not anime.
anime translates to animation. In Japan,
I would also
minions are
argue that a
anime.
lot a lot of anime isn't actually made in Japan at all.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
outsourced to China and Korea.
I know, because it's cheaper. It's cheaper.
Anyway,
It's
um
like Code
I think the long
Lyoko.
and
Code Lyoko's
oh, I
not.
loved Code
I
Lyoko.
love
That
Code
was
Lyoko.
Canadian.
Yeah, French
Totally
Canadian.
Totally Spies I think was also Canadian, and then
Yep.
Winx was Italian.
Yes, Winx is Italian. I know because I lived there when Winx was first starting and was at its
I love
peak.
all the little Maggie lore drops that come throughout these episodes.
I'm better than you guys. I have lore.
Anyway, I think the long and short of this is fandom is good as
Mm,
long as you don't go too fucking far. And also,
yeah.
can we please stop selling non-related things and labeling with fandom to sell a thing, because at that point we're just continuing and perpetuating the commercialization of interest and hobbies. Stop buying Astarian candles. Just stop, please. You don't need it. You don't.
The
Stop.
worst part,
Anyway. Yeah.
the worst part about it though,
Oh
in
no.
regards to like labeling items
Yeah.
in fandom related topics, is it's a great way for, okay, this is going to be like the devil's
Oh
ring, you know?
boy. Oh boy.
I understand why smaller businesses do it
Oh, it's great for SEO.
because, yeah,
Search engine
because,
optimization, baby.
woo, because there's so many small businesses out there. If you are able to find a market, like an initial user base,
Yeah.
and then they vouch for whatever you're making or selling, and then once you have a solid traction, then you can expand, right?
It's like doing fan art and then going into original art. Same thing.
Yeah, it's the same concept. Starting off with covers and then coming out with original music.
Yeah.
You're
And much like both of those
getting that
things, the
traction.
transition actually never works.
Yep. That's why you have to just do a hard launch for anything.
That's why you make fandom stuff until you die, because no one wants to consume anything that isn't fandom.
That's correct.
Speaking
How
of
sad.
that, I think that
Hmm.
brings us into weebs and Disney adults. Maggie, what is a Disney? If you see me flipping screens, it's because I have
Hmm.
notes. Maggie,
Oh,
what is a
wonderful.
Disney adult?
A Disney adult, um, via our source of the Urban Dictionary, we're going to focus on the first um, input of the definition. A millennial adult with or without kids that can't stop talking about Disney, including the movies and the parks. Even if they do have kids, they're still way more obsessed with it that their kids ever would be. That is a typo. That's incorrect, actually.
It's Urban
Anyways, I'm
Dictionary. It's
continuing
okay.
going. They probably engage in casual, quote unquote, Disney bounding, end quote, and visit the theme parks at least once a year. They are obsessed with everything Disney and probably have a Mickey Mouse bumper sticker and or tattoo. One of the most terrifyingly intense people you'll ever encounter. The term utilized in a sentence would be that Disney adult over there won't shut up about theme park trivia. Another better example utilized in a sentence would be I saw this insane car today. A Mickey Mouse bumper sticker, a special Disney license plate, their car custom painted red, white, and black. Definitely a Disney adult.
So my sister-in-law is a
Mm-hmm.
low-key Disney adult. And I will admit into thinking that I am better than people, as we all do secretly. It's just no one
Of
ever
course, of
actually.
course.
No, everyone feels this way about something. It's just no one
Mm-hmm.
ever wants to admit that they're better. They feel like they're better than other people.
Oh,
We
I
can all
will.
just. I know, but it's not socially acceptable to admit to feeling that way. But I don't care. This is my podcast. We do what we want. Um, I like to feel superior to other people. It makes me feel good about myself.
Hence the podcast,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. And so I, at one point, like many people who aren't Disney adults, looked
Yeah.
down upon Disney adults. Growing up, I love Disney. I used to like
Mm,
want to be a Disney princess because I
of
was a
course.
child and that's what you do and that is completely normal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um I went to Disney when I was a little kid. I think I was like 4 maybe. I barely remember it.
Oh.
I played in the dirt. They had a dino dig, so I just played in the dirt. My mom flew me
Dirt,
all the way
dirt.
out there just for me to
Disney
play
dirt,
in dirt. It
Disney
was
dirt,
great.
Disney dirt, Disney dirt.
And Michael and I have talked about going to Disney with my brother and sister-in-law as a
Mm,
group
hmm.
just so we Michael's never been. I wanted to be able to take him to do that.
Oh.
Also, I he has the hilt for a lightsaber.
Oh yeah,
And we can
yeah,
build
yeah.
our
Build a
lightsaber.
lightsaber. Yeah.
And like going once is fine. Like that's a good use of time. But
Yeah.
like I always thought I was so superior to Disney adults because like who would spend all of their time and money like going to these parks multiple times a year and like who's gonna fucking Disney bound and put all this effort into these outfits and also
Hmm.
like it's really cringe to like want to compare yourself to Belle and have like Belle quotes all over your fucking yeah, keep laughing. Hold on, this is gonna happen. I have
No, no,
Belle quotes
I know where this is going, and that's
all
why
over
I'm
your
laughing.
fucking house. Like to getting tattoos and shit. That's so fucking cringe. Who would ever be a Disney adult? I say, dressed as Hanon from Mermaid Melody, spending thousands of dollars to go to fucking San Japan for no apparent goddamn reason.
Yeah.
Disney adults and
Looks
weebs are the
at
same
me,
fucking thing. They're the
looks at
same
me
fucking
who
thing.
got a matching My Neighbor Totoro tattoo with my brother for his birthday.
They're the same fucking thing,
We're
just
the
a different
same
form of
thing.
media. But hear
Weeb
me out.
adults. Okay, I'm ready.
I came to the realization of
Wait, quick
why it
subset.
is
I hate
social.
how
Yeah,
I hate that we're continuously using the term "hear me out." It's like doing a whole 2 hour special saying "hear me out" has now made it
it
part of
broke
our
us.
everyday. Yeah, this is horrible.
It's part of our
Anyways, keep
vernacular
going.
now.
Keep going.
Um, comprehend my language because
I hear you. I hear you.
I feel heard. Um, I think it is socially acceptable to hate on Disney adults
Mm.
because the majority of Disney adults are women.
Mm.
Disney caters to women, Disney princesses cater to women. Most Disney adult influencers are women. Most Disney adult things are marketed to women. It is okay to
Mm.
hate women. I think that's why it's like a cool thing and a not like other girls thing to hate Disney adults while being a weeb because a weebdom is mostly associated with men.
Ah, see, I never thought of it that way because
I had that
I'm not.
realization right before this podcast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was talking
I
to
never
Michael
thought
about it.
about that.
Yeah,
Ah,
he's my sounding board.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
See, I never thought about it because probably from the time I was in end of middle school, beginning of high school, for whatever reason, I had a chip on my shoulder about Disney. I
Because you're
think it
not like other
was
girls.
probably because of that. Also, the scene kid days, very strong,
Yeah.
very strong. Um, but I would be lying if I said I didn't do Disney bounce. I'd be lying. But I
I
never
don't think I was ever
saw.
creative enough to do a Disney bound.
I was Tumblr.
I
I was on
totally will if I
Tumblr,
go if I go to Disney. I
as
will
you should.
100% put the effort in.
Every once in a while, I'll put like an outfit together, and I'll be like, oh look, this is like the color scheme of so and so. Do 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 do.
And Disney bounds are casual cosplay for normies.
They are. We're gonna bring them back during this recession era, baby.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Um, but yeah, no, I had never thought about that because recently I've been looking at media as a whole and thinking about how the entertainment industry inherently anti-women.
Mhm.
Um,
It is.
yeah, and so I haven't been looking into specific subsets yet, but now here we are, realizing that wow, this is a man's world.
Yeah.
Great, so sad.
Um but I think another thing like weebs and Disney adults they're the same
They're the
thing.
same thing.
Like they both center personal identities around that specific media
Mm-hmm.
franchise like we were
Yep.
just talking about with fandom.
Mm-hmm.
They incorporate fandom into daily lives from
Yep.
fashion choices to home decor.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me that that's just a Disney adult thing. It's also a weeb
No.
thing. Disney adults collect pins and limited edition items and park exclusive merch, where
Looks
weebs
at Ida
collect
bags
figures and plushies and posters and limited
and
edition
pants
anime goods. And they both spend way
and
too much money on
clothes.
these things.
Yep.
They both travel to, on one hand, theme parks, on the other
On
hand,
the other hand,
cons
Japan and
and
cons,
Japan.
the
Like,
Mecca.
and the thing I think that's the core that drives both of these is kind of what we were talking about a little bit earlier of
Mm.
they are driven by nostalgia.
Yeah.
Because look at what you and I most enjoy cosplaying. What is it?
Tokyo Mew Mew. Anything
Early
that's from our
2000s.
early 2000s. I
Okay.
knew it. I knew it. Early
What
2000s. Wait, ask me
draws
again. Ask me again.
what do we most enjoy cosplaying?
Early 2000s shoujo.
You're correct because it's
Yay.
nostalgic for us.
Mm-hmm.
What draws most Disney adults to we call them Disney adults because they never grew out of their Disney phase because it's nostalgic to them. Like
Yeah.
they're the same thing.
It's the same.
It's the same.
We
And
are the same breed.
more than once in my life, going into forums and cultural digital hotspots for the weeaboo.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I've seen people shit on Disney adults, and I'm like, are the same thing. But it's okay to do it because they're women. I really
Yeah.
think that's it. I genuinely think it's two things. One, they think anime is better. Eh, there's a lot of trash anime.
There's a
Two,
lot.
most
Mm.
Disney adults are women. It's the same reason why, like, when it's the same reason why women get hate on for anything. It's
Because
the
they like it.
same
It
thing.
brings them
We just
joy.
hate women.
If it brings the women joy, oh boy,
We
it's gonna
hate
get
them for
hated
it.
on.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Like in LARP, sorry, way off topic.
No, this is
Women have
on
a really
topic.
fucking hard time getting into LARP because
Mm.
people just really love hating women. Men can make mistakes. Women have to be
Oh
perfect from
yeah.
right off the bat. But also, if you're
Mm-hmm.
perfect, you're a bitch.
So we own it, and this is what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, I think Disney adults are just American weebs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree. Look at
Um,
that.
but I will say with my whole chest, people who only cosplay Disney princesses, specifically if they only have one Disney princess they cosplay,
You
don't
gotta
hang out with them. They're weird.
no, yeah. No, the ones that are
And I know you and I have had this conversation in private, but time to bring it public, baby. Are
okay.
you ready to get canceled again?
This is every week. This is every week, Julie. This is like
Good.
a horrible
We're
extended
just
bit.
saying we're
We're
just
saying
saying
what
the
no one
quiet
else
part
wants to
out
say
loud.
because we're the ones that don't have any dignity. And we're just like, you know what? Let's say it.
No,
Why
it's not that
not?
we don't have any dignity. It's that we don't care about the algorithm.
We don't care about the algorithm, and I'm kind of tired of just being quiet and being trash behind people's backs about it. I'd much rather those that are part of
Everyone's
these
saying this in
communities,
the shadows, and I
everyone's
know they
saying
are.
this. We want you to know what people are saying so that then you can fix. We are trying to fix you.
Oh, I was gonna say so we can all commiserate.
Oh, yeah, I like
No,
commiserating over misery.
I have so every time I see, okay, every time I saw, because I'm
Yeah,
not on
yeah.
Instagram anymore, every time I
Hmm.
saw someone who only cosplayed exactly one Disney princess, they pick one
Yep.
and they cosplay it, and that's all they do. It's one of two things. It's one of three things.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
either uh flunked out from
One.
being a park Disney princess
That's
and
right.
they're not over it.
Mm-hmm. Two.
Two, they are attempting or actively running their own princess party like company.
Mm-hmm.
Or
And
three,
three.
they're fucking crazy and they think they are
Yes.
that princess.
Or they can be all three.
Actually, they can be all three. They also tend to think they're better than anime cosplayers, which I think is very funny.
They do think that, and I would argue that they're worse because they're so solidly sold into this concept. Again,
They
not hating
also
on
LARP
Disney
in cosplay
adults.
100% of the
Yeah.
time.
And you know what? I do and don't understand it. So I'm thinking,
Okay,
so wait.
let
Let me
I'll
cook. Let me
I
cook.
I
Hear
will
me out.
hear you. Oh, no. Let me cook. That's the new one. Let me
Let me
cook.
cook. Let me
We're
cook.
not saying hear me
Okay.
out anymore, right? It's canceled.
Let me cook.
Yes, chef.
So I'm thinking specifically about this one time in SNL history when Amy Adams, who we all know is the actress in Enchanted, when
Hmm.
she was hosting SNL, she had a very specific stance that there were some sketches she could not be a part of because kids saw her as Giselle.
Hmm.
And once kids see you as that character, you don't want to break that illusion because
You don't
then
want to break kayfabe.
yeah, I was about to say you don't want to break kayfabe, but I was gonna make it seem more sweet and magical. Nope, you don't want to break kayfabe, bro. Like, come at me. But also, I think there is such this wonderful magic of childhood, this
Yeah,
innocence and belief that as adults we don't want to break because things that bring us joy, like certain aspects of fandom, gets that same kind of spark that you got as a child.
yeah,
Which
absolutely.
is why I understand why people who cosplay like Disney properties, right?
Or
And are
Barbie.
at the or Barbie. Anything that I would even say like the Power Rangers or
Anything
Turtle, anything that
that
children
children would have
consume.
that connection to.
I totally understand not wanting to break that illusion for them because I've done that. The one time that I dressed as Batgirl from the new 52, there were so many little girls that went up to me and were talking about Batgirl. And I was just like, I'm not. You know what? This is so sweet and wholesome. Like, you don't want to break that magic. You
Yeah,
don't, you want to keep giving them that hope and joy that that specific character brings. So
yeah,
I can understand the not wanting to break kayfabe of being that Disney character, especially if you have put out the money to have the equivalent of like a Disney parks costume.
yeah.
But then also that leads to this really weird dynamic.
It's really weird.
It's really weird where you then have to kind of sell yourself as this character and you lose your sense of self.
Yeah.
And then it's like also comes into play. It's like, What if you run into another Princess Ariel? And you're both wearing the same dress. There can't be more than one Princess Ariel in the same room. That's
Like
crazy.
at that point, you are for free acting as a Disney princess.
Yeah,
It's a little weird. But no, I
that's
get it. I
wild.
also don't break kayfabe around children. Like I don't cosplay from child IPs,
Mm.
but
Hmm.
you've seen it multiple times. If I'm a magical girl, a
Hmm.
little girl goes, "Oh my god, a princess!" and they get really
I like.
excited. And so I turn on my child appropriate voice
Hmm.
and I turn on my child appropriate interactions. Like when I'm Sailor Moon, I get
The
kids.
Sailor
I get
Moon
kids
was
coming up to
great.
me.
Yeah,
And so
you
I'll
did a
I'll
great
kneel
job with
down
that.
to their
Hmm.
height and I'll talk gently to them and I'll, be very
Yeah.
nice and if
Mm.
their parents are okay, we take a picture. Like um I don't break the kayfabe that comes with interacting with children and being a magical girl. I get that. And I think that's a good rule of thumb for other people to follow as well. But my issue comes when the Disney adults don't break kayfabe when not Disney adults. Oh boy, the
Ooh.
princesses don't break kayfabe even like on social media posts or
Yeah.
in like when there aren't kids around and you're just talking to other cosplayers. Like you're
Yeah.
not Princess Ariel, my guy,
No, like you have
and
to.
I'm not Sailor Moon.
What?
I'm not. My
What?
hair's too long to fit under that wig. I can't be Sailor Moon right now. Your
I
girl
will
gets
say.
alien head.
No, I think it's so special to see and enable that magical part for children because that really does bring back, at least for me, some little bit of not magic but passion.
Yeah,
It reminds me of why I started doing a lot of crafting or hobby based or
yeah.
creative things. Um, but it's absolutely true that if you don't know how to turn it off, you have to go and stop. You have to remind yourself who you are. Cho Simba. Think of who you are. Like gotta full have a full like realization moment of you are more as a person. And I know we've said this before on the podcast where you can have some form of identity in a community, but you are more than just that one form of media that you partake in.
Yeah.
You can be creative, but you're also more than that.
Don't let it substitute personality.
Yeah.
Maggie, if you had to
Go.
cosplay a Disney princess, who would you pick?
Uh, uh,
Can I make a suggestion for you?
I okay. So I want you to do a suggestion. However, I want to kind of try and deduce who you think you're gonna say for me. Is it gonna be part of the classic Disney's?
They are a capital D, capital P Disney princess TM.
Okay. I'm going to say what are they? What are the Disney princesses? Snow
Um,
White, Cinderella,
this, mm-hmm. You're doing good.
Snow White, Cinderella,
That's two.
Aurora,
Uh-huh. Three.
Aurora, Mulan, Ariel, Jasmine, Pocahontas,
Tiana.
Merida, Tiana, Moana.
Did you already say Rapunzel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, and then there's the ones that no one acknowledges because they're from not as popular
Well, there are things that aren't
films.
capital D, capital P Disney princesses. For example, Esmeralda is no longer part of the Disney princess line,
I think she's part of the. She's a Disney princess.
but she's officially not.
Well, you know what? Disney can suck it.
Anyway, would you
Kita.
like to guess?
Uh, are you gonna say Rapunzel?
No.
Good, because you know how I feel about Tangled. It angers me. It really does. This isn't a bit. This isn't a bit.
I was going to suggest Aurora on two levels. One, I think you would just be a gorgeous Aurora.
Thank you.
Two, I think you would do a really interesting like Huntsman Aurora variant,
Ooh.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know how they've done like all the fan arts have done like variants of things where it's like, Beauty is a beastmaster, like Cinderella's like a
Yes.
knight. I think Aurora would be a really good huntsman variant. And I think you would rock it.
Mm. I like
But
this,
also her
yes.
regular dress when she's hanging out like in the woods, one
Oh,
comfy,
I love
two would
that
be
dress.
super cute on you.
It's very much a Maggie tone. Like,
It's very Maggie
gotta love the neutral tones.
and blue.
And blue.
Yeah.
But you know for a fact I would not do a color changing or
No, of
color
course
shifting
not. But that's
dress.
also
It's
why
been
I'm
so overdone.
suggesting the dress in the woods when
Yeah.
she has like the black, like
Yeah.
little like half corset top thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know the one you're talking about. Oh, that's
Yeah.
crazy that I have, look, a black corset top
Oh, oh, wow. Ooh.
with actual
Um,
leather that hasn't been boned
if
or
I was
lined.
suggesting a Disney character that is not a Disney princess for Maggie, it would be Captain Hook.
Oh, I like this.
Do I
Oh,
know
I
you?
like that. You do know me. You know me so well.
I know
Not
who
me
Maggie
immediately
would
like,
pick if it was a
pirate.
princess, and I know who Maggie would pick if you weren't a princess.
That's correct. And if I wanted to go deep, deep, deep and say I'm way better than most Disney fans, I would go with the Black Cauldron, and then I would do a
I
variant.
fucking knew it. I fucking knew it was going to be the goddamn Black Cauldron. God damn it, Maggie.
And then I'd
I
say,
hate
I'm
you. I
doing,
hate you.
I would go with the Black Cauldron, and then I would do an alternative design where I'm like, so this is actually better because this is based off of the books, and quite specifically, we're talking about the Book of Three.
No, Maggie, we would be the mice.
Oh,
The little detective mice.
yeah, we're gonna do it. The Great Mouse Detective.
Yeah.
I was gonna be
Fuck.
the Watson. Don't take this from my fanfic.
I'm gonna take it from your fanfic. It's too good. We could have little mouse
Those
ears in our
ears.
hats.
And little tails.
We could make like a really big prop of cheese.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
But we've gotten way off topic. I was gonna be cute and be like, "Oh, we were talking about Disney, so who would you cosplay with Disney?" And then the Black Cauldron came up, and it was
The
gone.
Black Cauldron. And then we can pull from Atlantis. And
Well, I
then we
mean,
go
at
into
this point,
DreamWorks.
Marvel is also Disney, and Star Wars is also Disney, so
Mm-hmm,
we could
mm-hmm.
cosplay anything and be from Disney.
That's true. DreamWorks isn't Disney
Yet,
yet. So no Shrek. No Road to El Dorado. No Spirit
I'm
Stallion of the
surprised
Cimarron like human
in our
versions.
entire friendship, we have never once talked about doing a Tulio and Miguel.
Yeah, that's crazy. Why haven't we talked about this?
That's really weird.
That's really weird.
That's
Especially given that I watch the film like at least twice a year. Very
I'd
strange
be,
that I have not
I'd
brought
be
this up.
Tulio, you'd be Miguel.
Of course.
Of course.
It's very obvious.
Incredibly. Maybe that's why we haven't talked about it because every
We're just
best
like,
friend does it. We're
and
better.
we can't,
We're better
we're
than
better
them.
than them. We're not like other best friend duos.
I know we're gonna do Buzz and Woody.
Of course. No, wait. Do a,
God, oh no, I would be
wait.
Buzz. I don't want to be Buzz.
Do it. Wait, Julie, wait. Let me cook. A Lake Avenue one. A Lake Avenue.
Why? This is bad.
Julie,
Maggie,
you
all of
could
these have
be
to Yeah. Yeah.
You
Go
could
on.
be Buzz from Toy Story 3 on the sample demo mode where he's just
Oh,
speaking
where
in
he's
Spanish.
Latin?
Yeah.
Oh my god. No, we would be Bo Peep and Jesse and make it gay.
You right. You right.
Who
Ooh, wait,
needs
wait, wait.
Buzz and
Have
Woody
a
when we have
Woody
each
when you have
other?
each other. And then get like a hook, make a hook and like hook the waist around.
Yes.
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 Okay, so that's gonna go on the end of year bracket
Bracket.
of costumes that we make in 2026. Bo Peep and
Alongside
Jesse.
a lot Bo Peep and Jesse alongside Princess and the Pauper Barbie and then Alice.
Wow, this has gone completely off the rails. Would you
Here's
like
the
to
thing.
wrap
I
it
was
up for
thinking about
us?
no, not
No?
really.
Okay.
Well, Disney adults and weeb adults, as always. I've been Jules and Magpie. We
Woo.
don't love you, but we love each other. Thank you and good night. We'll see you in New Orleans.
Woo!
Goodbye. Woo!